All right, today we're diving into something truly revolutionary in the fight against Alzheimer's. Forget everything you think you know about new drugs, because what if the real key, the ultimate weapon, is already inside of us? We're talking about a clinical study that uses a special type of adult stem cell, telomerase-positive stem cells, or aTPSCs. Think of them as your body's own master repair kit.
And that brings us to the big question, the one that drives this whole explainer. Could our very own cells hold the secret to pushing back, maybe even reversing, a disease that has stumped medicine for more than a century? It's a huge idea. But before we get to the answer, we have to understand the challenge we're up against.
You know, Alzheimer's it's a devastating disease. It doesn't just steal memories. It methodically unwinds a person's life, from what they did yesterday all the way back to their most fundamental skills. And here's the crucial part. We have drugs that can manage the symptoms, sure, but nothing has been clinically proven to actually change the course of the disease itself. And that's exactly why we're looking for a whole new way to fight back.
So how does this therapy actually work? Well, it all starts with the patient. Before you can even think about treatment, you have to get these powerful aTPSCs out of the body and ready for action. And that requires a very specific 5-step process. For more than a month, the patient takes these special supplements, these nutraceuticals, that basically tell the body, hey, start making more of these stem cells. Then, get this, 18 hours before collection, they take something called glacial caps, which coaxes all those brand new cells out into the open bloodstream. That makes them super easy to collect with a totally standard blood draw. A centrifuge spins that blood like crazy, and the tiny, powerful stem cells get separated from everything else.
And finally, activated. It's like a perfectly choreographed biological harvest.
Now, think about what's really happening here. It's amazing. The patient literally becomes their own sterile bioreactor. Instead of trying to grow these super delicate cells in a lab dish, this whole procedure uses the body's own perfect environment to create a massive personalized army of healing cells before they're even collected.
And the crazy part? This all happens right in the interstitial connective tissue.
It's a brilliant approach. Okay, so the cells are harvested, they're activated, they're ready to go. But now you have a new problem. How do you get them into the brain, which is protected by the super tough blood-brain barrier? Well, the study used a really clever two-pronged attack.
On one hand, you have the smallest, most powerful stem cells, the totipotent ones. These are given as simple nasal drops. No, really. Their size lets them sneak right past the blood-brain barrier and get direct access to the brain and spinal cord. It's like sending in special forces. At the same time, the other types of stem cells are given through a standard IV. They travel all over the body, providing systemic support and healing from the inside out. It's a targeted attack on two fronts, one for the brain and one for the entire body.
All right, so this is the moment we've been building up to. The cells are prepared, they're delivered, but did it work? This is where the story gets really, really interesting, because the results were about as divided as they could possibly be. Now, before we go any further, I have to put a huge asterisk on this. This was a tiny, and I mean tiny, proof of concept study. We're talking about just 4 patients. So this isn't about definitive, world-changing proof. It's about finding out if this wild idea even has a chance of working at all.
And the results were completely polarized, 50-50. For 2 of the patients, the therapy was a mind-blowing success. For the other 2, nothing. No effect whatsoever. This 50-50 split is the real mystery we need to solve here.
And when I say success, I mean, wow. Just listen to this quote taken directly from the published study. The results weren't subtle, they weren't gradual. For the 2 female patients in the trial, the change was almost immediate and absolutely life-altering.
The details are just staggering. Their cognitive scores jumped to a perfect 30 out of 30. They could walk again, they could recognize their families, they were back in the world. And these effects weren't just a flash in the pan. A single treatment lasted for months, with multiple treatments over 2 years. But, and this is so important, when the treatment stopped, the disease came back. This tells us it's not a one-and-done cure, but potentially a powerful, ongoing way to manage the disease.
So that brings us to the other side of the coin, because for any therapy to be real, you have to understand why it fails just as much as why it succeeds. So what happened with the 2 male patients? Why didn't it work for them? So the first factor was pretty straightforward, non-compliance.
The protocol is strict. You have to make some serious lifestyle changes because things like alcohol and tobacco can literally kill these delicate stem cells. The 2 male patients who didn't get results, well, they hadn't followed the rules. But the second factor? This one reveals a totally fascinating biological phenomenon they called the triage effect.
The triage effect, basically the body's own innate intelligence kicking into high gear. If it detects a problem that it thinks is more life-threatening than Alzheimer's, say a weak heart, it will literally hijack the healing stem cells we just injected and send them over there instead. The body steals the treatment from the brain to go fix what it decides is the bigger, more urgent problem.
And they saw this play out, clear as day, in the study. One of the male patients who had almost no cognitive improvement had this totally unexpected side effect. His heart function shot way up. His body had hijacked the stem cells that were meant for his brain and rerouted them to go repair his cardiovascular system. The treatment absolutely worked, just not on the target they intended.
So, with these incredibly mixed but undeniably powerful results, where do we go from here? What's the next step for this kind of research?
The big takeaway is this. 1, the therapy appears to be safe. That's huge. And 2, it shows incredible promise, even if it's still very early. What we have here is a vital proof of concept. The next step is obvious. Larger trials that can control for those failure factors we just talked about, lifestyle, other illnesses, and processing time, to see if we can get that success rate a lot closer to 100%.
And that's what this small 4-person study really leaves us with. It's a profound glimpse into the future, a future where we might not just be managing diseases like Alzheimer's, but actually reversing the damage by unleashing the healing power that's already coded into our own DNA. The question isn't if personalized cellular medicine is coming anymore. It's what our world is going to look like when it finally gets here.